I hope I'm audible to you and my screen is visible. Quickly confirm it in the chat window. Am I audible and my screen is visible? Okay, let's continue. So I have an abstract class, okay? I have an abstract class which has got a abstract class called as base. It has got only a fun function which has got a code. There is a class derived which is extending the base, and then I'm saying derived d is equal to new derived. So when I make a call to d.fun, what should happen? Should it run or not? Yesterday I taught you that an abstract class contains an abstract method. But is there a possibility that you may drop an abstract method, you may only have a class as abstract and it can have a non-abstract method such as fun over here? Yes, that's possible. Yes, that's possible. Okay, even though we cannot create an object of the base, I can create an object of a derived. I can make a call to fun because of the inheritance. So this code will perfectly run well. So when I run this, it will say base fun. Okay. So kindly make a note, okay, that an abstract class contains an abstract function normally, but even if you drop it and have a non-abstract function, still it is going to work. Only thing is you cannot create an object of a base class. You cannot create an object of a base class. There is an abstract class called as base. Okay, same like the previous one. It doesn't have any abstract method, but now what I have made the fun function as final. I have made the fun function as final. Okay, there is a class derived which extends the base. Okay, I have made this function as final. Okay, now is it possible for me to have this kind of a declaration where I say reference is of the base class, object is of the derived class, and I'm making a call to the fun? There is no fun in the derived class, but there is a fun in the base class. Yes, I can do it. Yes, I can do it. Again, reiterating that a base class need not have an abstract function. Point number one. A base class can have a function with code. Point number two. A base class can have a function with the final keyword, indicating that it cannot be overridden. It cannot be overridden. That means derived class cannot have a function called as fun over here. And here my reference is of the base class and I'm creating an object of a derived class. This was the second example. The third example is I have an abstract class called as A. I have a function called as A, which is a static function. Okay, I have a class main which extends A. What I have done is my main is extending A. Instead of having a separate class extending a main and having the main as a separate class, what I did, I am having a main which is extending a A. Now my abstract class has got a static function, So can an abstract class have a static function? Yes. Can it have a code? Yes. What if it does not have an abstract? Perfectly fine. So can I make a call to this particular function A? Yes, I can do it. What is the name of the class? A. What is the name of the function? A. So I am saying A dot A. So I am saying A dot A. We run this for you. Is it clear? Any doubt? We have an abstract class called as A. It does not have an abstract function. It has a static function with the code. So is it possible to have, for an abstract class to have a function without any abstract method? Yes. Point number one. Point number two, can it be the final function? Yes, it could be the final function. Is it possible for function to be static? Yes. And then directly, if you want to make a call to the static, directly say a dot a. What is a? Name of the class. What is a? The function. So I'm directly calling it. Even though my class name is abstract. Even though my class name is abstract. Let's discuss one more concept related to inheritance. It's a very important concept and it is called a interface. It is called a interface. So let me just explain it with this particular example. There is an interface called as drawable. What is interface? An interface is nothing but something like a contract. It is nothing but a contract. I have an interface called as drawable. It has got a draw function. That's it. It has got a draw function. There is a class rectangle which implements drawable. Kindly check out the keyword called as implements. In case of inheritance, we have the extents. In case of interface, we have the implements. So we have our two classes, rectangle and circle, which are implementing drawable. Okay. So since we are implementing the drawable, it is a responsibility of the rectangle to have the draw method. So rectangle has got a draw method, circle has got a draw method. Circle has got a draw method. And this drawable reference variable D, see, this is the drawable interface. What is the reference? D can be made to point to circle, and then I can make a call to the draw. I can make it point to the rectangle and call the draw method of the rectangle. Let's see. Let me explain this. Let's create another object called as D1, and instead of circle, let's have rectangle. Let's copy this. And then let me have D1 dot draw. Okay. So when I make a call to the draw function, what should happen is the draw of the rectangle should be called. Let me explain this with a diagram. We have an interface called as we have an interface called as shape. Okay. Now, what is an interface? Some company has developed an interface called as shape. It has got a function called as draw. It has got a function called as draw. Now I have a series of classes over here. One of the class is rectangle. Another class is circle. Okay. One of the class is rectangle. Another one is a circle. So now what happens is rectangle has to create an object of the shape. Rectangle has to create an object of the shape. We cannot create an object of the shape class. We can create an object of the rectangle and a circle. So what I do is I say over here shape S equal to new rectangle, shape S equal to new circle. Okay. So this is a reference of the base class. Okay. And this is my class name. And this is my object. Okay. This is a reference of the base class. And this is the object. Now this S can make a call to which function? Draw function. This S can make a call to draw function. Now, what is a rectangle class? The rectangle class has to compulsory implement which function? Draw function. The circle class has to implement which function? The draw function. Clear? Understood? So there is a class shape having the draw function without any code. It's an abstract function. There is a class rectangle which is implementing shape. There is a class circle which is implementing shape. Clear? It is implementing shape. Tomorrow, there might be another company which has developed an interface called as X. Okay, called as X. And there is a function called as display. There is a function called as display. Now my rectangle class has to use the display function of this X class. Okay, this rectangle class has to create an object of the, has to implement the X class. So what I can do, this rectangle will be implementing X. This circle will be implementing X. Clear? So we may have the series of interface over here and we could keep on using them in our class. We learned that in Java, we do not have multiple inheritance. That is absolutely not allowed. But if we have a different contracts and if you want to use it in your program, then what is the way out? You have to start designing the interface. So normally in your project, instead of using an abstract class, what you're going to do? You are going to implement the interface. Why you're going to implement the interface? Because it may so happen as a progress, as you implement the project, and once the project is rolled on, you may need a different needs which should be implemented by all the class. So have something called as an interface, have a function body without any code, and let it be implemented by each and every derived class. So in short, these three things you have to remember. A, Java does not allow multiple inheritance. Not allowed. That means I can't have something like this. There is a class A, there is a class B, there is a class C, and I cannot use something like this. Okay, this is not allowed. It becomes way too difficult to handle it in the real life when we have around 1,000 classes and each one is implementing multiple inheritance. When you start with the project, we start with something called as an abstraction. Abstraction means one moment. Is the screen visible to you?
Yeah, ma'am. Yes, sir. লিয়ে মানে ঘুমানোর পরিবেশই তৈরি করছিল।
So kindly pay attention. This inheritance is allowed because it's a multi-level. It is a multi-level. And when we are starting with the project, kindly start with an abstraction. Kindly start with the abstraction where I have something called as a base class. Okay. Let's call it as E. This particular base class can have a complete function and it can have a abstract function. Okay. It could have a complete function, that means a function with the code opening brace, closing brace, or it could have an abstract function. Clear? I could have a series of classes derived 1, derived 2, derived 3, which have to be compulsorily implementing which function? G function. And this function f can be overridden in the derived class, or if you want to reuse it, you can reuse it. You can reuse it. If you want, you can override it over here, or you can reuse it. Can I create an object of an abstract class? No. We can't create an object of an abstract class. Are you with me? Is this clear about the abstraction? Abstract class, which we discussed yesterday? You can type a yes or no in the chat window. Thank you. Now, the drawback of this approach is, if I want to have one more functionality from the derived class from a separate class, assume that this is developed by ABC company, this is developed by XYZ company, and this XYZ company has released certain feature, okay, and you want to use it. I cannot use it because Java does not allow multiple classes, base class. Java does not allow multiple base classes. It is not allowed. So normally developers, what they do is they will not use an abstract class, rather they will have an interface. Okay, so ABC class is, A class is developed by ABC, perfectly fine, but it won't be a class, it will be interface. It will be interface. There is another company called as XYZ. It has developed an interface called as B. Perfectly fine. And I could use n number of interfaces over here. Now, my same hierarchy, D1, D2, D3, can implement the functionality from the A as well as from the B. Either they can use one of them or they could use both of them. They can use both of them. Is it clear? An interface is similar to abstract class, okay? But we could have the multiple interfaces. We could have the multiple interface as indicated by in this particular diagram. We have interface A, we have interface B. We could have a function called as F. We could have the function called as F2 over here, or we could have the same function. Then in case I need to make a call to it, I will have a derived class pointing to the to this particular interface and making a call to this, and then making a call to this. Is it clear? Yes, no? If you have any doubt, kindly raise it. Concept wise, coding, we haven't seen the example till now. Now taking this concept, let's go to the code window. Let's go to the code window. Okay. There is an interface called as drawable. There is an interface called as drawable. Which has got a function called as draw. No need to write public, no need to write abstract, because by default they are abstract and public. No need to write a public over here because by default it is public. There is an interface drawable. Okay, don't please make sure that you don't make a mistake of saying that it has got a default access specifier. In case of interface, by default this is public, only and only in interface. Then there is a class rectangle, then there is a class circle. That means if I take you to the diagram, what we have is, we have an interface called as drawable. It has got a function called as draw. Does it have a body? No. So what it is by default abstract. Secondly, by default it is public. No need to write this. No need to write abstract and public. By default in an interface, if I have a function, it means it is abstract and public. There are two classes, rectangle. There is another class called as circle. This is implementing drawable. This is implementing drawable. So let me write a keyword called as implements. Okay, there is no extend now. Kindly note, in interface we do not have extend. So now compulsorily the rectangle has to have a function called as draw, and this circle also should have a function called as draw. Now I can declare a reference called as drawable. Let's call it as D. And then I can say D is equal to new rectangle. So when I say D is equal to new rectangle, and then when I make a call to draw, which function should be called? Draw of rectangle. Okay. Now this D is pointing to new circle, and then I'm saying D dot draw. So which particular function should be called? The draw of the circle. The draw of the circle. Clear? So same thing I did in the code window. There is a interface drawable with a draw function. There is a class rectangle. There is a class circle. Implementing drawable, implementing drawable. Okay. In the class main, we have a main function in which I say drawable D is equal to new circle D dot draw. Okay. So D dot draw is what it is doing. It is taking me over here. Since it's a circle, it is taking me over here to the circle and making me call to which function? Circle function by saying drawing circle. If you want, you could create one more object of a drawable by saying drawable D1 is equal to new rectangle, and when you can say D1 dot draw. D1 dot draw. Let's take a bank example. Let's take a bank example. In case of a bank example, what I did, I declared an interface called as bank, in which I had declared a function called as rate of interest. So by default, this is abstract and public. So I'm saying class SBI implements bank. So SBI now has to compulsory write which particular code? Rate of interest. PNB, rate of interest. And in the main, I can say bank B semicolon B is equal to new SBI. So when I say B dot rate of interest, which should be called? SBI should be called. So when I say B equal to new PNB, which rate of interest should be called? PNB's rate of interest should be called. The difference between abstract class and interface is a class can extend only one abstract class, whereas a class can implement multiple interface. A class can implement multiple interface. Is it clear to you? As I said, a class can by default have a implement a multiple interface. So let's have an interface called as printable and showable. So there is an interface called as printable. There is an interface called as showable. Okay. So printable has got a print function. Showable has got a show function. Okay, let's assume there is a class called as A. So this A is implementing printable and it is implementing showable. Okay, so this class is implementing printable, this class is implementing showable. Let's assume now I say printable P. Okay, then P is equal to new A. So once I create an object of a derived class, I can make a call to which particular function? The print function, which has to be implemented in this class. Since it is implementing both, it has to also have the code for the show. It also has to have a code for the show. Okay, so now I will say P is equal to new showable. Sorry, made a mistake. Showable S is equal to new A. And then I will say S dot show. So now what will happen? It will make a call to this. So this particular class has to implement both print as well as show function. Has to implement both print as well as show function. Is it clear? A class implementing more than one interface. More than one interface. So Dhruv's question is, can we say some sort of multiple inheritance in Java is allowed through interface? No. Interface is something like a contract. Interface is something like a contract. The company A may provide you some feature, company B will provide you some feature which are not at all related. Which are not at all related. Assume that you are a broker working in the share market. Yes or no? So you want certain feature from this particular ABC company. So you purchase that particular package. So that is going to give you this feature. Class XYZ might have given you some reporting tools. You want to use it. So you are using it over here. This and this are not at all related. You just wanted to implement certain features over here, certain features of this. You do not have a development team which can implement it quickly. So you go to the market, purchase this, you go to the market, purchase this. They have exposed this as an interface and you write a functions over here. Are you with me? So coming back to this example, we have an interface printable, we have an interface showable. They have got two function print and show. So class A is implementing both printable and showable. So I need to implement both of them, print and show. In the main, I create an object of a main class and say obj.print and obj.show. If you have any doubts, kindly raise it. The next question is, can an interface have a function with the code? That means, can a interface have a non-abstract method? If you look at it, draw is public and abstract. We don't have to write it. Message is not a abstract function because it has got certain code. It has got certain code. So you can do this from Java 8 by using a keyword called as default. By using a keyword called as default. So I have an interface drawable. We have got a function called as void draw. It doesn't have a body, so it is by default abstract. We have a function called as message. It displays certain message. So if you want to have a function with the body, then what you should do, you should make it as a default. You should make it as a default. There is a class rectangle which implements drawable. So it has got a draw function and it has got drawing rectangle. Clear? So this rectangle has got a draw function, okay, which is implementing this. So it is implementing this and I want to reuse this. I want to reuse this. So what I'm doing, creating an object of a rectangle by saying Drawable D is equal to new rectangle, D dot draw. Do I have a draw? Yes. D dot message. Does it have a message? No. So it will pick up the message from here. If you have any doubts, kindly raise it. Implementing means writing the code for the function which is an abstract function. Which is an abstract function. Implementing means writing the code for the function, such as you are writing the code for the draw function. In case of abstract class and a normal class, we use a extend keyword. We use a extend keyword. Any other doubts you have? So what we learned, in case you want to have a function with the body, you should make it as default. You should make it as default. Let me share the code with you. So, thumb rule. A class can implement multiple interface. By default, the function without any body is public and abstract. In case you want to have a function with the body, you should make it as default, or you should make it as static. You should make it as default, or you should make it as static. I have got an interface drawable. It has got a function called as draw. It has got a function called as cube. And I told you that if we want to have a function with body, kindly make it as static. So I made it as static. In the previous example, it was default. There is a class rectangle which implements drawable. There is a draw function which is simply writing the code such as drawing rectangle. There is a main function in which I say drawable D is equal to new rectangle. Okay. I say D dot draw. So what should happen? It should make a call to this. I want to make a call to the cube function. Okay. So I will say SOP drawable dot cube 3. Why this? Because cube is a function belonging to the drawable interface, and I will say drawable dot cube 3. My question to you is, instead of saying drawable dot cube 3, can I say D dot cube 3? Can I say D dot cube 3? Can I do that? Yes, no. Instead of saying drawable dot cube 3, I want to use an object. Can I say D dot cube 3? Yes, an object can call a non-static function as well as static function. Remember, an object can make a call to the non-static function as well as static function. So let me first execute the code. Okay, kindly write one line of code which will say system.out.println d.cube3. Do it, check it whether it is running or not. I'll wait for 2 minutes for any queries. So the question that was asked was, instead of drawable, can I say d.cube3? Okay, let's run this and check. Illegal static reference method call. Illegal static method reference call. What I told you was, if I have a class with static as well as non-static data, and function can make, once you create an object, that object can make a call to the function which can make a call to the static as well as non-static method. Okay, but if you're using an interface, and if you're having the cube method, such in this case which is a static, and if you want to make a call to it, then when I say d.cube3, it will give me an illegal static reference. Okay, it won't be in a, you won't be in a position to make a call to that particular cube function. So you will have to write drawable, that is the name of the interface, and that particular cube function. You try it out, Dhruv, and tell me. I'll wait for you. What you do is, you have a rectangle class in which you implement the same function. Copy this function over here. Copy this function over here. Okay? And run this code and tell me. One moment, huh? Yeah, it is giving me an illegal error. Point number 1, we will have to remove the static reference in the interface. Then only it will be in a position to work. But if you remove this, what will happen is this particular code will collapse. This particular code will collapse. So you cannot have this line over here. You will have to use interface dot particular function. Okay, pay attention. There is an interface A and it has got 4 functions A, B, C, D. Clear? It has got 4 functions A, B, C, D. There is an abstract class called as B which is implementing A. There is an interface. I have an abstract class. My abstract class is implementing A. What is the name of the abstract class? B. Implementing A. What it is implementing? The function C. Okay. Remember, this is not a normal class. This is an abstract class. And one particular function has been implemented. There is a class M which extends B. There is a class M which extends B. That means class M has got nothing to do with the interface. It is saying extends B. It is extending B. And this particular class is implementing A. Okay, so this particular class B has implemented C. And this particular class M is implementing the remaining one. A, B, and D. A, B, and D. So I have a class M which extends B, which has written the code for A, B, and C. There is an abstract class called as B, which is implementing A, and it has written the code for the C. Now my question is, if I say A equal to new M, what is A interface? What is new M? This particular class B. Sorry, this particular class M, which is extending B. So will my code run by saying A dot B, A dot C, and A dot D? Let's check this out. Yes. So let me draw the diagram and explain what I have achieved over here using this example. There is an interface called as A. Okay. This interface has got a function A, B, C, and D. This particular interface has got a class B. Okay, but it is an abstract class. This abstract class is implementing this interface, but it is not writing the code for all. It has written the code only for C. There is a class called as M. This class is extending B. And it is writing the code for A, B, and D. That means the interface functions now have been split into the class B, which is abstract, and the class M, which is extending this particular B and implementing the remaining function, which is A, B, and D. The question they are asking is, now can I create an object of an M class? Yes, I can do that. And once you create an object of it, can I make a call to A, B, C, and D? Yes. Why? 3 are implemented over here. This is extended, so it can make a call to this, and you will be in a position to implement it. So kindly remember that when you have an interface, the interface method can be split into multiple classes. Clear? One is B, another one is M. Let me copy this code for you and then my question will follow. My question is very simple. Can I remove the keyword called as abstract from here? Can I remove the keyword called as abstract from here? Okay, think and answer. Can I remove the abstract keyword and run that particular code? Yes or no? I have given you the code, remove the abstract, compile it, understand it, and then type your answer in the chat window. So we'll give you 2 minutes for that. Remove the keyword abstract, compile it, run it, and see the error which you get. Class B is not abstract and does not override the abstract method D in class A. What happened was it was expecting you to implement all the methods. You were not doing it. So it is complaining, saying that boss, I cannot find the code for A, C, and D. Hence, I made it as an abstract. I hope it is clear to you. Is it clear? If I remove, see, if I remove the abstract keyword, there is a class which is implementing a, and what I told you, any class which is implementing an interface should implement the methods. There were 4 abstract methods. You implemented only one of them. So it was searching for the definition of A, B, and D. So it said, it gave me an error for this. If you make it as an abstract, then what happens is you cannot create an object of it. So it is perfectly fine. What I targeted was the class M, which extends the B, and in which I wrote this ABD. C was already here. So when I created an object of M, it didn't give me any complaints because it could find ABD, and because of the inheritance, it could find the C and it could execute all the methods. Is it clear? Okay. Kindly pay attention. All these documents are uploaded, okay, on the shared drive, and all the video lectures till yesterday are uploaded. So kindly go through all those particular video lecture as well as the class notes. All the notes, you don't have to copy it. They are already there. Just make the changes, make it run, so that it will be a reinforcement learning for you. I'm making a call to the function. I'm making a call to the function. Is it clear? A is a function. This is a function. I hope you understand. Look at the code window again. See, these were the functions. Okay, I'll change this so that it will make you clear. Oh. I hope it is now clear. Okay, is this screen visible to you with the circle diagram? Is it visible? Okay. So normally whenever you'll be working in an organization, you are supposed to understand this particular diagram. In the exams, it won't come, but this is a purely and purely a coding example, how we discuss it in an organization. There is a class circle with radius and color, two data members. The minus sign over here indicate these are the private data members. These are the private data members. Remember, data type is double and string. Data type is double and string. The default constructor should assign the value 1.0 and red. 1.0 and red. Okay, so I have got three constructor. All these are public functions. Since there is a plus over there, circle, circle, circle. The first one is taking the default parameters, so you should be assigning 1 and red. The second one is only accepting double, so you should assign the other parameter as red. In this case, radius as well as color is accepted from the user, so both should be assigned to radius and color. There are two getter functions. One is get radius, another one is get color. Look over here, the return type is double. The return type is double and string. I'm returning a double in the get radius, I'm returning a string from the get color. Set radius return type is void. That means set radius should be returning, should not be returning anything. You should be assigning the value of the radius. Set color should be assigning the value of the color. ToString is a function which should be displaying the contents, whatever is asked. For example, in this case, radius and color should be displayed using a ToString. Get area is a function which should return the area of the circle. So this is a base class. We have a derived class called as cylinder. We have got a derived class called as cylinder. It has got a height which is minus, indicating that it is a private. By default, this cylinder should be assigning the value 1.0. In case you pass the value as height, that should be passed to this particular height data member. In case cylinder takes two data member, height and radius, it should be assigned to height and radius should be assigned to radius. There is a class cylinder which takes height, radius and color. Height should be assigned over here, radius should be assigned to the base class, color should be assigned to the base class. Get height should be returning double, set height should be assigning the value. ToString should be returning radius, color and the height. Radius, color and the height. Get volume should be returning a double. Is it clear? Have you understood this diagram? That there is a circle class with data members as radius and color, and these are the member function. There is a class called as cylinder having a data member called as height. Cylinder as so and so. Get height, set height, ToString and get volume. Is the diagram clear to you? Yes, no? Okay, good. So tomorrow we'll write the code for this particular function. Okay, the code is already uploaded on the chalk pad. The code is already uploaded on the chalk pad. Is it clear? Understood? That feature is disabled, Amrit. You cannot send a message to everyone. You can send a message only to the faculty. Tomorrow you'll be having the class from 11 to same time, 10:45 to 11:45. Clear? In which I'll be discussing these 2 or 3 examples. Yes, it's a holiday, but I'm taking a class. So in case you have any prior assignments, you can see those who are all on the move, they can move. Okay, it's online, it's online. There is no offline class. Tomorrow is a holiday. There are no offline classes. I'm only taking an online class. Those who are already on the move, they can go through the recording. Is it clear? Okay.